The United States has struck again at sea. Another oil tanker has been seized in the Caribbean, this time the Olina, in a bold pre-dawn operation that underscores Washington's tightening grip on Venezuela's oil lifeline. According to U.S. officials cited by Reuters, the tanker was intercepted near Trinidad on Friday by the U.S. Coast Guard and Joint Task Force Southern Spear after sailing under a false flag. The vessel had been masquerading as registered in Timor-Leste, a move U.S. authorities say was designed to evade detection. Marines and sailors launched from the USS Gerald R. Ford, surrounding and boarding the tanker without incident. U.S. Southern Command declared the message unmistakable: there is no safe haven for criminals. Maritime risk analysts say the Olina's tracking system had gone dark more than 50 days ago inside Venezuelan waters, classic behavior of what Washington calls the ghost fleet. The tanker reportedly left Venezuela last week fully loaded with oil, part of a flotilla that departed shortly after the dramatic capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The Olina was not new to U.S. radar. It previously sailed under the name Minerva M, a vessel sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury last year for transporting Venezuelan oil in defiance of sanctions. This seizure marks America's fifth tanker interception as the Trump administration enforces a maritime blockade aimed at strangling the regime's energy revenues. U.S. officials say the goal is pressure, not war, using control of oil, money, and shipping lanes as leverage. The move comes just hours after Washington released Russian crew members from another seized tanker, signaling that this is not a random campaign, but a calculated one. Vice President J.D. Vance summed it up bluntly: control the oil, control the regime. President Trump now says Venezuela has agreed to ship tens of millions of barrels of oil to the U.S. and cooperate on rebuilding its energy sector, conditions that led him to halt plans for further military action. At sea, the message is clear: America is enforcing the rules, tanker by tanker. In response to our appeal, U.S. President Donald Trump made the decision to release 2 Russian citizens from the crew of the tanker Marinera, who had previously been detained by the U.S. side during an operation in the North Atlantic. We welcome this decision and express our gratitude to the U.S. leadership. We are beginning urgent practical work on all issues related to ensuring the swift return of our compatriots to their homeland.
Russia says the United States has agreed to release Russian crew members detained after a dramatic seizure of a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the North Atlantic, an operation that has sharply escalated tensions between Washington and Moscow. The tanker, identified as the Marinera, was seized earlier this week by U.S. forces after being tracked from the Caribbean Sea. American authorities claim the vessel was part of a so-called shadow fleet moving oil for sanctioned countries including Venezuela, Russia, and Iran in violation of U.S. sanctions. Despite reportedly being escorted by the Russian Navy, the tanker was boarded in international waters. According to Russian officials, the crew initially faced possible prosecution, an outcome Moscow called categorically unacceptable. On Friday, Russia's foreign ministry confirmed that U.S. President Donald Trump had decided to release the Russian nationals aboard the ship. Spokeswoman Maria Zakharova welcomed the move, thanking U.S. leadership for the decision. Russian Special Envoy Kirill Dmitriev later stated on Telegram that Trump had ordered the release of all Russians on board. However, the seizure itself continues to spark outrage in Moscow. Russian officials accuse Washington of stoking military and political tensions and threatening international shipping. According to Russian media, the tanker carried a multinational crew of 28 people, including 17 Ukrainians, 6 Georgians, 3 Indian nationals, and 2 Russians. Russia's transport ministry said it lost all contact with the vessel after U.S. forces boarded it. The tanker had previously operated under the name Bella 1 and was flying the flag of Guyana. U.S. officials say it repeatedly attempted to evade capture, changing its name, repainting its hull, and slipping through what Washington calls a maritime blockade of sanctioned oil shipments. U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem praised the Coast Guard and military for what she described as a meticulously coordinated operation against Ghost Fleet tankers. The United Kingdom confirmed it provided logistical and basing support during the interception in the North Atlantic. The seizure marks what analysts say is a rare and provocative move, possibly the first time in recent memory that U.S. forces have taken control of a Russian-flagged vessel at sea. While the release of detained crew members may ease immediate diplomatic pressure, the incident underscores a widening confrontation over sanctions enforcement, maritime security, and great power rivalry on the world's oceans.